Hello, Sagittarius. How are you? Welcome. I hope you're doing very well. Sagittarius, let's see how your energies will be at this moment so you can use them to your advantage and see a situation from a new point of view. This reading is general. Take what resonates with you and don't discard this message. It applies to all those who have their sun, rising, moon, or Venus in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius, if you want a personal consultation with me, you can write to the email shown on the screen, and I will send you all the information you need. Attention! 3 phone lines have been activated for Argentina, Spain, and the rest of the world, where you can contact a tarot service 24 hours a day. You will be able to communicate with my team of tarot readers who will be answering all your questions instantly. Thank you. We are going to channel a message for the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Here you have the Ace of Swords, Sagittarius, the Page of Swords, and the Page of Cups. Queen of Swords, a lot on your mind, right? So much information. And this is very much connected to the emotional side, to the sentimental side. On one hand, I see messages there, messages with someone, a person you're attracted to. Maybe this has to do with getting to know each other, right? Starting to write to each other, to message each other. There's like a need to want to know more about the other person. So you're in a time of self-expression. There's very good emotional openness here. I mean, don't hold things back. I feel that this person sparks your curiosity. It's like, I need to know about this person. I want to know what they feel, to know what they like. I mean, your interest has been sparked. This person has stirred up a lot for you emotionally. And I feel like this person has made you, or you've opened your eyes wide, right? I see something like that, like, wow. I really like this person, but I want to get to know them better. I want to know much more about them. I don't want this to just be a single date. Or in another kind of relationship. What I want is to deepen the conversation. To also start talking about things that weren't discussed before. I feel like you're starting to go a little deeper with the conversation. Not discussing superficial topics, but talking about something with substance, something very deep. This will also allow you to get to know the other person, to know how they think, to know what they feel. There's a need to know. There's a need to know this person and to know the truth, because you're starting to see them with new eyes, in a very different light. There's something that strikes you. There's something that catches your attention. There's something that just clicked for you. Maybe there's a real relationship here. There's a relationship where it's going further. That's why I say it's much more than just a crush or a date. Something more. That's why I say there's a great need not to beat around the bush, to be straightforward, to express what you're feeling. Okay? I feel that, like I want to be as honest and real as possible with you. And I also expect the same kind of honesty in return. If we're going to keep getting to know each other, exactly that. Let's talk openly, right? That's why I feel like it's time to talk about certain things. Maybe at another time this would have been avoided, or it would have been overlooked. Now there's a need to do it. Let's see where all this is heading, where this reading is going. Sagittarius. Let's take 3 more cards here. Here you have the Ace of Wands, the 9 of Cups, and the devil. Intensity. Queen of Wands? Wow. A lot of intensity, a lot of passion, a lot of pleasure. There's no doubt that they're very motivated by this person, saying that they're not only attracted to this person, but there's also a kind of fascination. Okay? The connection is so strong. Or their energies are so attractive. That wouldn't rule out there being a very strong intensity here. Based on what we've seen, I don't think this is something to worry about. Maybe you like that this person expresses themselves this way, or that you feel this way. Because what I see here is, I've never felt such great pleasure by being with this person, by being in the company of this person. I see something that's kind of amazing. I see something that's like, let's see, amazing, and then moving on to, this is a lot. There can be issues of excess, of emotional excess. Sometimes this can be like meeting someone and suddenly just like that. You might already fall in love, start projecting things onto them, and you still need to get to know the other person more deeply. I feel like you've kind of already made up your mind. There's a certain kind of impulsiveness there, and saying, I want to enjoy what's happening. I want to enjoy it intensely. Because honestly, what I see is that this person attracts you a lot. The person who excites you, you feel passionate about them. So Sagittarius, moments of great emotional satisfaction are approaching. Everything you've wished for in a person, this can become a reality. You are about to start something, to write a new love story, to try something new, to experience something new on an emotional level. But this relationship is not without excesses. Okay? When I talk about excesses, it can mean excess in every sense. Excess at the time, in the intensity, in the emotions. I feel so much more than I could ever feel for a person. And sometimes, of course, excess, we all know that all excesses are bad. Excesses bring, the line between excess and toxicity is very thin. So maybe what I feel is, look, it's not about ending a relationship here. It's about regulating that intensity too, right? So that a bond or emotional attachment or dependence isn't created here. It's like saying, I'm so fascinated with this person. I feel so much that certain mechanisms start to kick in, especially those that have to do with control, with jealousy, right? Possessiveness too, and that's not healthy for a relationship. It's not healthy for a relationship. Many times that's how it looks. The encounter with the other person brings a shadow to light. A shadow. Actually, it's a personal shadow that often gets projected in relationships, and it gets triggered. It's like saying, well, I've never been jealous. I've never been a jealous person. And you find yourself in a relationship situation where jealousy starts to appear. You say, what's all this? This is new. Let's see. Let's see what else we have. Sagittarius. Moments of fulfillment are approaching with lots of pleasure and satisfaction. But be careful not to overdo it. Also find your balance, right? To enjoy in a healthy way. Sagittarius. You have here the 7 of Cups, we have the 5 of Cups, and we have the Knight of Swords. Over here we have the Hierophant. All right. I feel like the energy is a bit connected to this, right? Don't let yourself get carried away by excess. More isn't always better. It's quality versus quantity, right? And quality wins.
Em,
To love without attachments, right? To love without emotional dependencies, without being controlling or obsessively. I feel like you're in a test, an emotional test, where you're being given a lot of information. I feel there's something to learn from these emotional topics we've talked about. And this also has a lot to do with
am,
making the decision here to also let go of those projections, right? What are you projecting onto the other person? What is the other person projecting? Illusions, fantasies, emotional desires. Very high expectations. I barely know someone and I've already visualized a future without really knowing them deeply if that person is truly right for me. So we need to see where all of this is coming from. I'm not saying that the feelings you have for this person aren't real. Of course they're real. But it could be that they're a bit exaggerated, like much bigger. This is also about putting a person on a pedestal, putting them in a very high position, like everyone also revolves around that person, or rather all your attention. I think this is a pattern, an unconscious pattern, which is closely related to the issue of emotional needs at a given moment. But I feel like you're going to be here. You have the opportunity here to break it, to let it go, to leave it behind. That's why I say you're in a learning process, in a process where a lot of information is coming in, a lot of understanding, where the boundaries are, where the balance point is, what a healthy relationship is like compared to a toxic relationship, how different it feels. Sometimes when you're very used to it, or after having gone through toxic relationships, with toxic dynamics, you find yourself in a relationship where it's the complete opposite, where it's healthy, where there's spiritual connection, where there's communication, where there's understanding. And of course, this seems strange to the mind, to the body. It feels weird, like saying there's something fishy going on here. What's happening? And no, it's because you're not used to that. The mind defends itself when encountering something new. So I think you all have an opportunity here through this connection to break it. First, to recognize if there's any pattern, a toxic one. If there's any pattern related to what we've talked about, the issue of excesses or attachments. And put an end to it here. That is, these emotions or emotional patterns belong to my past. I let them go. I release them. I am grateful. And now I move on to something real, to a real relationship, a healthy relationship, to a new routine, or a new way, too, of connecting and getting to know the other person. Okay? It's also about being patient, about not skipping steps, about not
eh,
wanting to rush the process either, and about enjoying it. Enjoying everything that happens along the way. Okay? But the key, I feel, is communication. It's necessary for you to communicate, Sagittarius, with this person, all right? Share all your feelings. Now isn't the time to hold back. Whether it's concerns, an uncomfortable situation, or something that doesn't sit right with you, ask about it too. Let it out. Don't be left wondering. Also, if you have a strong feeling, express it too. Communicate it. Let's go with your advice or message, Sagittarius. You have the cat. What does it tell you? The cat is a free spirit, rebellious and independent. Its natural beauty and untamable temperament make it a captivating being, adored by many cultures. The cat comes today to give you the gift of knowing how to set boundaries. You are giving too much of yourself and not making space for your own rest and enjoyment. The cat invites you to work on being freer and to cut toxic ties that make you dependent on others or make others dependent on your energy. I feel like this came at just the right time. Pay attention to this, cutting those emotional dependencies and making others dependent on you. Or you may be creating a dependency.
otro.
Dear Sagittarius, this is what we've seen for all of you. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you here next time.